no one should be surprised to learn that ETs exist, because the Bible is full of both the Old and the New Testament.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the UFO Phenomenon Podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we have a fascinating guest joining us. Author and researcher Harrison Viers Newberry has become well known for the exploring of some of the biggest questions surrounding UFOs, consciousness, hidden history, and the future of humanity. His work challenges readers to look beyond conventional explanations and consider how these mysteries may be connected in ways many of us have never imagined.
Today we'll be discussing his latest book, Imminent Shift, a thought-provoking look at the changes he believes are unfolding across our world. We'll explore what inspired him to write the book, what he believes this shift really means, how UFOs and non-human intelligence fit into the bigger picture, and what these developments could mean for all of us moving forward.
Whether you've followed Harrison's work for years or you're hearing about him for the first time, this conversation promises to be engaging exploration of some of the most compelling topics in the world of high strangeness and disclosure. So sit back, keep an open mind, and join me in welcoming Harrison Viers Newberry to the UFO Phenomenon Podcast.
Hello, Harry. Welcome to UFO Phenomenon Podcast.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's an honor.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor for us to have
That's
you.
true, yeah.
So let's kind of go over a little bit of how you got into this field and what set you on your journey and made you write the books and all the wonderful information you have now.
Well, I began my spiritual journey, a search, a quest, if you will, for enlightenment and a search for truth and answers to questions that everybody asks at some point in their life. This began a little over 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
After I had had some real tragedy in my life. My first book is entitled, it's And the Angels Called Him Shining Bear.
Okay.
I'm the Shining Bear.
Yes.
And it's a story of going from horrific tragedy to being suicidal to nothingness to having a great and wonderful life beyond what I could imagine. I had lost both my parents 8 months apart. That I was very
goodness.
And then my first wife was diagnosed with cancer.
No, I'm
sorry.
And she was 29 years old. We'd been married for several years at that point. We met in college, and then about the time we found out she wasn't going to make it, I got a phone call one morning. My only brother had dropped dead of heart.
Oh, man.
6 months later, 6 months after that, my wife died.
That's a lot of loss all at once. Your whole life must have been completely turned upside down.
It was a sledgehammer blow, and I tried to wash it all away with alcohol, and that didn't work out very well.
No.
But, I finally realized that, I didn't have the guts to commit suicide, but there's an old Janis Joplin song. Another word for freedom is nothing left to lose.
Yep.
And
that's true.
Where I was. And I started building or rebuilding my life from the inside out from that point. And when we speak about consciousness, that's what everyone really has to do, is to rebuild their lives from the inside out. Because as we evolve and ascend into the fifth density, which is coming, we can't take our baggage with us.
Right.
We've got to get rid of all the baggage, all the little things that say, I'm not okay. You know, when you're young, your mom and dad said, why didn't you get 100 on that test? Why did you only get 95?
My parents stopped asking me that a long time ago.
You know,
Yes.
you look terrible. I mean, we all pick these little things up, but we store them in our subconscious. Okay?
We do.
But they're there in every one of us. Now, December the 21st, 2012, in which people were anticipating that date more than any other date in history, other maybe Y2K. It was a widely anticipated time. A lot of people thought it was the end of the world. So it didn't happen, but maybe it would have. I'll tell you another little story later on. But what happened was the magnetics of the Earth shifted.
Okay.
Emotions are magnetic. Thoughts in the brain are electrical. The magnetics shifted. The magnetics were the glue, you might say, that held all that I'm not okayness in place in our subconscious. Well, it's gone, so all that stuff is now appearing in our conscious mind.
So do you think that it could have possibly been also, that everybody was looking at that date in 2012, like collective consciousness, being all of us connected, that it also helped shift into the fourth density?
No, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Okay.
The story is a little bigger than that, but
Okay.
It was anticipated, and it had, this whole thing had been looked for and was prophesized going back before the time of Jesus. In the 1970s, there was these two historians, one from MIT and one from Germany, that wrote a book called Hamlet's Meal. And they had spent their life researching ancient spiritual and religious teachings. There was like 35 of them. And every single one of them had the same prophecies and beliefs. And that those prophecies were that at this particular time, we as a human race and the planet is going to go through a shift in the planet and a shift in consciousness. My book, Imminent Shift, that you had mentioned you were reading.
Right here.
Yep. I got it right here.
It's about that shift. The first part of the book, part A, I think I called it. And we've been shifting, especially since December 2012, gradually.
Okay.
And, people are angry and people are just bearing their souls, going online and telling things that they would have never told before.
Things we shouldn't know, probably. Yeah.
Yes. Too much.
Yeah.
Thank
Facebook for that.
Information that I needed to hear type of a response, that it draws. But it's because of this shift, and because the glue is not there to hold all this in our subconscious, and it's coming into our conscious mind. I was sitting around, and I got mixed up with someone after my first wife died. I wrote about in the book, and I'm not going to go into here, but it was a horrific part of my tragedy. And all of a sudden, I started thinking about this. It's like, where the heck did that come from? And a guy named Jim Self that speaks about this stuff better than anybody I know. He has a technique, and he said, when things like that pop up into your mind, tell yourself it's going away now, and take 3 steps to the right, or at least turn your head to the right. Taking 3 steps to the right is foolproof. Sometimes I do it and just turn my head to the right and say it's going away, and it goes away. But
That's
if
a
it's-
great tip, because I think we are all bogged down with regrets in life, bad memories, past traumas. And in the last, I'd say 5-10 years, I have started kind of practicing that. I know I don't turn or step to the right, but I just immediately say no. No, I'm not going to think about that. That's over. That's gone. But I'm going to try that next time. That's a
Well, the
great.
brain is like a hard drive on a computer, Cheryl. And one of the techniques that I've used for over close to 40 years, I'll say when something negative pops into my mind, a thought or memory, I'll say cancel, cancel, cancel. 3 times.
Yeah,
Cancel, cancel, cancel. Just
that's
like on a
great.
computer. And it
Yes,
works. It
it
works.
does.
But we've got to get rid of that stuff, you see, because it's bogging us down and it's holding us in fear.
Yes.
We've got to get out of fear to rise. Love. There's two. Well, we live in a duality universe, right? For
Mhm.
everything, there's a polar opposite.
Yep.
You got no hot to no cold, up to no down, male and female, some say the biggest polarity of all. Well, likewise, with emotions, we have
Uh-huh.
love and we have fear. Now, there's variations in between, but fear can manifest itself in many, many ways. Anger is probably the most prevalent. Anger is just fear turned outward. Depression is fear turned inward. Jealousy, envy, hatred, violence, all these things are all fear based. We
Yes.
must choose love. When we choose love, we rise in vibration. And that's the key to rising in consciousness. We all vibrate at our own individual frequencies. Your frequency, each of you has a frequency that is as unique to you as your fingerprints.
Yes.
And this was proven even by the government. They developed a device, a meter, back. Well, they started working on it in the 80s and finished it in the 90s to read frequencies. Now, they did it because they were looking for alien hybrids
Oh,
initially.
okay.
And the aliens vibrate. They're the fifth density. We, at that time, were in the third. We're now on the border of the fourth. But all humans have an individual frequencies, but it falls within a given range. Okay,
So,
but the ETs were much higher, and it was a foolproof way to detect.
do you think that when someone is having an out of body experience, that they are their bodies are now vibrating at a higher frequency, or are they? When you're out of your body, do you feel like you're crossing over into a different density?
Maybe your spirit is vibrating.
You're definitely, I think, you're at a higher frequency. That the analogy that I like to use for the fifth density, people say, what's that like? Well, there's many attributes. And believe me, we want to be fifth density.
Yeah.
For sure.
You remember the first time you were ever in love,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
like as a teenager, that crazy, insane love.
Yeah.
Well, your vibration was way up.
Uh-huh.
Nothing could bother you. It's just love.
Yes.
It's all love. That's how it feels to be
Uh-huh.
higher frequencies. And if people could remember that, how would you like to feel that way all
That would be magnificent.
of well-being all the time?
How do we get people to move to that? How can we get everybody to vibrate like that?
It's easy and simple, but it's not easy to do.
Right.
We have to let go of the fear. And to let go of the fear, you have to start with the practice of rigorous, I mean rigorous self-honesty. You know how there's people, anything that happens, they look for someone to blame it on. So the worst part is they're lying to themselves. And secondly, they don't grow, they don't evolve because they don't learn from their mistakes. You know, if you can't be honest with yourself, how you got to be honest with anyone else?
True.
I still get angry from time to time, and when I do, I'll say, Harry, what are you afraid of? How are you threatened? But then I have to be honest. And the answer is always instantaneously, because I draw my answers to that type of question from my heart, not my head. We've got to become a people of the heart instead of the head.
Yes.
We believe there's two realities, okay? Like I said, there's two of everything. Well, there's the spiritual world and there's the material, physical world. We've been led to believe, as a human race, that all there is the material world. Yeah. Right? I am my brain. I am my body. No, you're not.
No, we're our soul. Yeah.
We're all eternal spirit beings. Now, years ago, and I wrote about this in my book, Shining Bear, I walked the path of the shaman for a long time. And it was under the lineage and the teachings of a group of people known as the Kera in South American Peru. The guy who trained me is a PhD in psychology and medical anthropology, Dr. Alberto Viola. And it's a long story, but he had gotten into contact with one of them who trained him. And then later he met the others. But at the time the Spanish conquistadors came in 1532, right around there. They had, these were the spiritual leaders of the Inca Empire, what we call the Inca Empire. And they had, in their visions, had foreseen the coming of the Spanish. They knew there was nothing they could do to stop it, and they knew it was going to turn their world upside down, which it did. So they escaped Cusco, the ancient capital of the Inca Empire, and went up to one of their holy mountains at altitudes at 16,000 feet and even higher, and lived for 450 years.
Wow.
And isn't that where the ruins are in Peru?
Think about it. Meeting with these people, I mean, they'd never seen a television, a telephone, or automobile. They'd never even seen a globe of the world.
They're not affected by all the distractions that we have.
And I'm telling you, looking into their eyes, it's what I imagine it must be like to look in the eyes of Jesus, of someone that is divine, pure love.
Yes.
It just warmed me. And I sat in ceremony with them several times. And they said, they had prophecies too, which all theirs have come true that I won't get into here. But one of their prophecies was that this shift that we're now talking about, and this started, they came off the mountain in 1994. Okay. And they said this shift would begin in the United States. That we would become a people of the heart, not the head. Now, ironically, around 1990, a French researcher named Dr. Amour, which is French love, discovered that we have some 40,000 sensory neurons in our heart. These are brain cells.
Yeah.
Furthermore, they discovered that these cells in the heart, these brain cells in the heart, are 100 times more powerful than those of the head. And that because of this, they also think and remember separately from the brain. They see everything that goes on. And if you could marry the two together to get them to work in harmony, the head and the heart, which I learned how to do, you increase your memory exponentially. Deep intuition on demand. Your ability to heal yourself is increased.
That would be
And
good.
the heart is our link to our spirit. And from our spirit, we're linked to universal consciousness because there's only one consciousness. And the ETs know this and live it and are aware of it. It's impossible to hurt another person without simultaneously harming yourself.
Yeah.
So, do you believe the ETs are interdimensional?
No.
Or no? Do you think? Do you think they? Okay. Do you think they have? Okay. You know, there's rumors of crash retrievals and reverse engineering. I guess what my question is, how does the consciousness in this experience tie into the ET phenomenon? Like,
well, the ETs, everything outside of our Van Allen belt is fifth density. And let me make one thing clear. And many people use the word dimension incorrectly. And so did I for a long time. I didn't know any better. Dimension refers to physical things, whether it's a straight line as first dimension, a triangle, a square, a cube, but they are all material objects, things.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What we're talking about is consciousness, which has to do with vibrational frequency. Totally different thing. Okay? We are all vibrating. But in fear is a dense, dark energy. You drink. But love is light and a high vibrational frequency. And they're all in the fifth density. Everything outside of Earth is fifth density. Now, I'll give you something to chew on for later.
Okay.
Earth is also fifth density and always has been. But for the past 12,500 years, we have been artificially suppressed into the 3D.
Believe that?
Yeah.
From our moon, from the spaceship, our moon. But that's a big story in itself.
Yeah, there are times when people spoke of a time before there was a moon. In ancient texts, it talks of time before the moon.
Well, the moon wasn't always there because it's not the moon. And science has pretty well concluded this. I'm not going way out on a limb in saying that because they pretty much have concluded there's just no way. Any argument at the end just falls apart.
Well, it's hollow and it's rusting. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, we didn't make that.
Even the Apollo missions, they put a seismograph. They left a seismograph. And on Apollo 17, the final mission, they dropped the lower half of the lunar lander back down. It was very heavy. And the moon resonated like a bell for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
The people inside had to be pretty ticked off.
And the impact from the craters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did the moon is what's projecting the Van Allen radiation belt and keeping us here on
It's a
Earth?
computer program that generates the Van Allen belt and a hologram over Earth and sends out matching frequencies that blank out the fourth and the fifth. They're there. They're there. But we can't
Right.
sense them with our five senses. It's like you walk into a room with a ceiling fan and it's off. You look up, it's got four blades. Turn it off. Turn it on high. The blades become blurred. Now, if you were able to turn it on very high, they would vanish. They'd disappear.
Yeah.
You can't see them. It's still there. And all these things are around us and affecting us, I might add. But we just can't see them yet. But
So
now that we've moved into the fourth density, we're starting a lot of things, a lot of here's where the word interdimensional animals and birds that we've never seen, fairies, gnomes, elves, all these things are in the fourth density. And they are appearing to people around the earth. And there's reports increasing of them. But the fourth density, they say it shouldn't be there, but it is. But it's a stepping stone to the fifth. And since 12/21/12, with all that blue disappearing, the magnetics, it's giving us the opportunity to prepare ourselves. Because we can't take all this garbage with us.
Nor do we want to.
Work. It won't work. And people are going to, the world would just be pure chaos if we were suddenly thrust into the fifth instant. Because we have embraced fear for so long.
So we're in a sense, we've been in kind of a prison planet. And why, I guess my question is, why did they want to keep us like that? Who was it? Evil entities that wanted?
It wasn't for us. The Federation of Planets instituted the 3D, but it wasn't for humans. This was 12,500 years ago. This was at the time of the last ice age. This was at the time when there were very, very few, the Great Flood. There's humans on Earth, but what were here were reptilians.
Okay. Yeah.
That are written about in the Bible, talked about in Sumerian tablets.
Yes.
And there's parts of the Bible that were copied right off the Sumerian tablets, word for word. Which I just learned that not long ago, and I learned it from a guy who was an Anglican priest for 33 years. And he's done word searches for meanings and understanding of Scripture. There's a lot. I mean, the Bible is full of ET stories, Old and New Testament.
I fully believe that, yes.
The Vatican admitted in 2009, the very conservative Pope Benedict ordered that a symposium be held on the theological implications of the revelation of I forget the exact wording, but of ETs, okay? And they had scientists, scholars, and theologians. Now, they didn't do this in secret. This was publicized before, during, and after when they were doing it. And they came out in the end and said, no one should be surprised to learn that ETs exist, because the Bible is full of both the Old and the New Testament.
Yeah.
So we should be prepared to embrace our cosmic brothers and sisters. It just means God's been a little busier than we had thought. And they did this to help people to prepare, so they didn't want their own people to be shocked when they show up. And a lot of people, and I've had this come to me many, many times now, several times anyway. is the year that the ETs are going to self-disclose. People talk about the government disclosing, and they're never going to tell us the truth.
No.
You read that book, Imminent Shift, and you know a hell of a lot more than they're going to tell you.
Yes, I agree.
Tell us.
One thing that's always kind of bothered me, I hear so many people say that once disclosure happens, it will ruin religion and shock all the Christians. And I am of a different opinion to that. I'm like, no, it will just confirm to them that God created other beings on other planets. I don't think people understand that there could still be extraterrestrial and religion. And I hear that all the time. And I think people are just being very closed-minded about it.
Putting limits on God that don't belong.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with religion, it's not the God, the truth aspect that's there, because there's a lot of truth. You see, I grew up, like a lot of us in this country, as a Christian. Now, I was taught Christian teachings. And to this day, I practice and endeavor as diligently as I can to practice the main teachings of Jesus Christ. But what did Jesus teach? He taught love.
Forgiveness.
Neighbors yourself and love yourself. You can't love someone else if you can't love yourself. To love yourself, you have to have a clean and clear consciousness. To do that, got to be self-honest. Okay? He taught forgiveness. The church turned it around and made it about begging God to forgive us for our sins. We all make mistakes, but they're not mistakes if you take them and learn from them and use them to grow and evolve. There's some that say we never have made a mistake. We just had experiences. Some didn't work out too good. I'm not going to try that one again, but we tried. The other big thing, and this is one of my favorites, is the practice of non-judgment. Jesus taught non-judgment. Nobody can deny that.
That's true.
Let he who was without sin cast the first stone. Argue that. I said I studied with the Caros, South America. One of the first practices that I was taught was that of non-judgment. And I'm not just talking about judging other people. I'm talking about judging anything as good or bad. How do you know? If you bought a raffle ticket on the car that you would most love to have, let's say, and you won, is that a good thing? Well, sure.
Yeah.
But what if surely if you won the car and 6 months later you finally let your husband drive it and he's going to the road, it turns out there's a factory defect. He hits one of those concrete columns and it leaves him paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You rue the day you won that car.
That's true.
How do you know? We don't know. We take life as it comes and accept people for who and what they are, as long as they're not. I mean, we have a right to defend ourselves, certainly, but aside from that, live and let live. Because you never know what someone else is here to learn. Because we all come here with a purpose. It took me a long time to figure out what my purpose is. And it's to help people to awaken and to choose love for the right reasons.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
We feel that we were called to tell people about this topic and help people expand their consciousness, open their minds. I mean, it's just what I feel in me that I'm here to do. So I completely understand that. Yes.
Well, the open mind that you refer to is a guy named Raymond Tarpey. He speaks, I don't know how many languages, but he's been researching these topics for many decades. He talked about we need to let go of our beliefs. And I'm like, what? That's kind of some time ago. But he said belief is a German word. It comes from be, to be, and liebe, to love or choose. And he said, we all know love is blind. I've known people who have gotten married, and like a woman meets a man, and she's head over heels in love with him, but everybody besides her knows this guy is rotten to the core. Because she marries him and finds out too late. Or vice versa. I had a friend that married a woman. Same thing. We all tried to talk him out of it. He couldn't see it till it was too late. Doesn't mean that you don't have beliefs. It just means you don't block out all other possibilities. Keep an open mind. If you're secure in what you truly believe, why should someone else's opinion throw you into a rage, a fit of anger? That's
true.
what I've had that happen. Psychology 101. She does protest too much. It's a claim for that you've hit a button, you pushed a button in someone because they're not secure in what they believe and they are threatened. Here's where that self-honesty comes back. You have to ask yourself, why am I angry? Why am I angry? And be honest about it. And chances are, deep down somewhere, it's because you're unsure of what it is that you believe. Otherwise, why should you be upset?
That's
Whether
true.
it's religion, politics, you get people ready to kill one another over politics, and everybody knows politics is dirty to the core. And they're not the solution. They're nothing but puppets for the cabal.
Yeah.
Payoffs to vote.
Couldn't agree more.
Some industry wants them to vote. They're not the answer. I pay no attention to that stuff anymore.
We don't either.
I don't watch the news because even if I agree with what's being said, all that happens at the end is I end up angry. And for what? It accomplished nothing. So I've learned that I have to stay focused in my love to hold that inner peace. And
do you, I don't know, a lot of people nowadays are seeing the orbs in the sky. We've seen them so many times and, we had never seen them before. Do you think that is part of the upcoming shift into the fifth density? Is that because we're now in the fourth density that we're actually noticing them now?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them myself, but that doesn't mean anything, because there's a lot of things I haven't seen. But
same.
The ETs are here, and the government's even acknowledged that we are being visited.
Yes.
Anyone that has it should see the movie Age of Disclosure. Not movie, but documentary, Age of Disclosure. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yes.
I mean, it's not so much what they revealed, it's who was doing the revealing,
Yes.
Senators, their top scientists, Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis are two scientists that I've followed for years.
Oh, same.
But I've never heard them say this stuff,
Yeah. I had never heard Hal Puthoff talking about the bubble that was around the craft that like he did on Age of Disclosure.
Yeah.
So that was very exciting to hear that.
Well, if you have another one is the battle for disclosure with
Uh-huh.
Stephen Greer, Dr.
Yes.
Stephen Greer. I think it's hard to watch that and not find myself getting angry. That's why I don't like to watch it a lot. But it's the truth about what's going on. Eyewitnesses, whistleblowers are coming out and telling what these people are doing. And it is disgusting. It's evil. I mean, human trafficking. I mean, there's no depth that they won't go to hold on to the secrets. There's no depth that they won't go to. But I can't do anything about that. I can do something about what I project and what I feel and how I try to help others, to stay focused on what truly is important. The ETs are here in mass. There's thousands of them. They're walking on the streets. They're in our industries. They're in our government. They're walking all over the place because what people don't realize, Hollywood's got people believing that an ET is a little gray.
Right.
But there are thousands of civilizations with human appearing people. Now, many of them are different than us, like the Tibetans from the Pleiades. There's 18,000 of them here in a blockade around Earth right now. And they look like we do. But they don't have a sagittal suture.
Oh,
Yeah.
They don't have two lobes to the brain. It's all one mass. So they don't have that conflict between the masculine and feminine energies. And their neurological system is very different, much higher voltage. They could see in the dark like a cat, but you wouldn't notice that if it were walking down the street. But they're all...
Do you think there are hybrids here,
Human alien.
that don't even know they are a hybrid walking around?
Yes.
Yeah. I've often wondered that.
That's been proven too. That has been proven. That several of them did not know that they were hybrid. A lot of them are grays. The grays have been involved in all this stuff. But the reason the ETs tell us that they are here is very simple. And I mean, there's multiple reasons, but their main objective, they tell us, is to liberate human minds and human souls and prepare us for the ascension. But they're also here to chase down the remaining reptilians that have been responsible for all this false programming we've received for thousands of years. Short lives.
I'm sorry. Do you think there are reptilians in the government?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that a lot, that, and I don't know if you're familiar with Linda Moulton Howe's work. She says that World War II was an extraterrestrial war between, ETs that were here to help people, and then the reptilians. So I've often wondered if there wasn't some truth to that.
Well, we know that the Germans, the Nazis, in the end, some say they didn't lose World War II. They moved to Antarctica. They joined up with the reptilians. And in 1947, Mulbird led Operation High Jump and took a massive convoy of ships down there. They were supposed to be there for 2 years. They came back in 5 months with a tail between their legs because they encountered these flying craft. Bird made this statement. I think he stopped at Chile and was interviewed. And of course, the government later stopped him from talking about this, but he said in the future, we're going to have to fight battles with craft that can fly pole to pole in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And,
he did.
And that's a long story of how all that evolved. But there was a guy named William Thompson, who was very young, but he was a very brilliant guy, worked for a general who had 29 German-speaking operatives, spies in Germany during the war. Now, they operated separately, but they came back and reported one story, and then it was a sequence. Every one of them told the same story, and that was that the Germans had these spacecraft, gravity spacecraft, all over Germany and all kinds of weaponry that they couldn't perfect in time to use against us. If the war had gone on a little bit longer, it would have been any question of who won the war. And yeah, there was, as far as what Linda said, I don't know that I go that far, but there's some backup to it. There was all kinds of sightings, what they call Foo Fighters.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And they weren't German, I can tell you that, nor Japanese. In fact, they did shoot one or two of them down. And, there was that. But these other craft, if they'd have been out there, we would have known about someone would have reported.
And the U.S. was sure quick to snatch up all the German scientists and bring all of their technology here with Operation Paperclip.
Well, Werner von Braun, when he was dying, I think it was around 1977, on his deathbed, he had some prophecies, and he said that that we were going to fight, like we fought the Vietnamese War. That was a hoax. That turned out to be true. And then it was going to be rogue nations. So we had Libya and Syria and all that. And then it was going to be terrorist groups. This is in the late 70s. But he said the last one, their last desperate attempt, he's talking about the military-industrial complex, would be a threat from the aliens.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that. And that's what Dr. Stephen Greer talks a lot about. And I've seen interviews with people who were privy to conversations and meetings where they were discussing in detail how they were going to use this race of insectoids that were like 15 feet tall. And they'd be exoskeleton that, a 45 caliber hollow point won't touch it.
The praying mantis, the praying mantis type.
Well, I don't know the difference between. I know what a praying mantis looks like, but there's different races of them. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's kind of scary.
We're always really kind to the praying mantises we find around the house.
Yeah.
We don't want any repercussions from the overlords.
Well, they were really going to try this, and they have the reverse engineered craft. Most people could never tell the difference. But see, if you see a craft and it's got welded edges and bolts, that's man-made stuff.
Yep.
Because ET craft are made in space, grown in space, seamless construction, seamless. But they were really seriously talking about doing this as a way to get people to accept the ET phenomenon. That was the auspices of which they were doing it. But they said that there was going to be a lot of collateral damage, meaning a lot of people going to die, which they don't care.
No.
It's not
No. So 2027 is going to be the year I've heard you talk about when all of this comes together.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
All I can tell you is 2027 has been coming to me for the last, I'd say since about 2022. Various sources and, very credible people.
Yes.
And it keeps popping up. If you look and talk to people that really, really research this arena, what I'm saying is no big news flash.
No.
There's one guy who's a CIA. They hire him to do remote viewing, but he doesn't follow their standard training regimen of how to remote view. It's all natural. He does it psychically and projects himself to do this. They go see what you can find out about the Black Pyramid. They don't say it's in Alaska or whatever, but he just goes there.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's a form of astral projection when they do that.
Yeah. But, he reports that he's seen this coming. And there was an ex-Marine, Rodriguez, I think is his name. And I did regression hypnosis on him. He didn't remember it, but they were talking back and forth with the Andromedans. And they said the psychologist said, why do you want him? Why are you using him? And they said, people to prepare for what's coming for our arrival. And she said, well, when will that be? 27. And I went, not again.
Yeah.
It just keeps popping up, over.
It does.
Something about it rings true in my heart. And that's what really gets my attention more than what anybody else says. There's something about that date from the first time I heard it, it just resonated.
Something that really resonated with us was in your book talking about yourself and your wife feeling like, I don't want to misquote you, but like an impending doom, like something coming.
Yeah.
Aaron and I have felt that
for years.
For like the last 6 years. It was almost like mentally something shifted during COVID in 2020. And ever since then, we felt like we're just, on the edge of something happening. And we don't know where that energy is coming from, but a lot of what you said.
Attention to it, because I can honestly tell you that, and this is what I'm talking about, becoming a people of the heart, not the head. Because what we're talking about here is deep intuition. And you only get that from the heart, not the head.
Yeah.
If I have a question, I get quiet and ask the question, and the answer is instantaneous. If it's going to give me an answer, it might not. It's always instant. Now, if I wait a couple of minutes, my head takes over, and there goes the logic and the reason. No, that can't be, But I've learned, I don't pay attention to that. If it comes from my heart, every single time in my life, now I'm only 29, but every time in my life that I had done, some people call it your gut feeling of my heart, I have regretted it every time.
Yeah.
And every time I've gone with it, I've been glad I did. And I finally, after several years, I don't know how long it took me, I'm pretty slow to wake up, but I finally realized, what's wrong with you, stupid? You got to pay attention. And at the time, of course, I didn't realize what was truly happening behind it, that the heart is a brain operating separately as its own. If you can marry the heart, and there's a technique that I write about, in my book, Rise of Human Perception, on how to bond the heart and the head together. It's very simple. You just have to do it. This British guy said, if you could do this, anyone that can do this will acquire knowledge because it links us into universal knowledge and wisdom. And he said, anybody that's successful in accomplishing this can make the genius look like the village idiot. Because what we know here is a drop in a bucket compared to universal knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, I must have not done it right because I haven't surpassed the genius yet, but
Yeah, I'm still waiting too.
Me as well. I have in the last, you were talking about each person having their own vibration level.
yes.
In the last few years, I had some really strange things happen. I started spontaneous astral projection. And when you saying that about the vibration, ever since that has been happening to me, I can just be sitting still and I can feel my feet vibrating now. My body is just like vibrating so much higher than it was prior to that happening. So a lot of the stuff that you talk about and teach about really resonated with me because I feel like there's really, there is something there. There's some tie into our raising our vibration, crossing over into the fifth density. And you described the fifth density as the feeling of, falling in love for the first time. Well, I would think that would be similar to being out of body. You don't have any pain. You don't feel anything. You feel light as a feather. It's blissful. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, we are all born with gifts, but we're told they don't exist. That's crazy. Yeah, what are you talking about? Are you stupid? Yeah, we all are born with clairvoyance, ESP, the ability to communicate telepathically. My wife and I do it all the time. We don't have.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, it's there. And that's the way the ETs communicate. That's the universal method of communication. Is through telepathy. And there's classes being taught in this country on how to learn to communicate telepathically. Now, from the Pleiadians, they use what they call verbal telepathic, meaning they still speak, but they load each word or phrase with up to 1,000 times more information than a standard Earth word or phrase would carry. So when you meet them and they say, "How are you?" They say, I'm fine." That's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work because they see right through it.
Yeah.
We are communicating a lot more to them. They're not just trying to read your mind, but they know. And imagine living in a culture, in a society where everybody could read each other telepathically. Get rid of wars and fighting and stealing and all that stuff. They don't even use money. And these service stations, they don't have police departments.
If we all could hear each other, it would force us to all be kind.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't want other people to hear us thinking bad of them or that's the key right there.
It starts back, and I tell people this all the time. It starts with rivers Stefanos. Without that, you're getting nowhere. I learned that in the Amazon jungle years ago. It was such a prophetic teaching. Talk about something resonating. No, that's the key.
Yeah.
to success and happiness. My happiness. And why? Because we complicate everything.
Yes, we
We
do.
deny truths to ourselves or misrepresent the facts to others. It gets all entangled, and it's a chaotic mess. And it's so much simpler and cleaner just to tell the truth.
It is.
Yeah.
If we would all just
lied. I mean, I've lied, but I've never been very good at it.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So if the listeners could take one message away from all three of your books, what would that message be?
Go within or go without. Start working on yourself. I tell people to read my books in order. If you're just starting out really working on yourself, you'll find a plethora of tools and methods in my book, Shining Bear. Then read Imminent Shift, because it's really two books in one. It talks about the shift, but it goes into depth, as you know, on the ET phenomenon, the
Yes.
UFOs. And they've been helping us a long, long time, and still are. And they're here trying to help us right now. And if you hear the word threat by the government,
Yeah.
we are the threat. I'm not saying there's not bad ETs, the reptilians, but they're already here and we're fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's others, but by and large, I mean, we've got a lot of protection around us. The ones in the blockade, they're here to help us, and they consider the Earth the key planet in this quadrant space. And that's a topic all into itself as to what that is, because we are the product of negative infiltration. And what they have done to us, and how they have manipulated our ideals and our beliefs over and over. And we've got to awaken. And the only way you evolve in consciousness is to get rid of your fears. I'm not saying you're going to get rid of all of them. They're going to pop up, but don't allow fear to control you.
Tell it, cancel.
That's right. Everybody needs to work.
It works. It really does. Mine has always been no, 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 but I'm going to try cancel.
Yep.
I'm going to try stepping to the side and turning around. Those are great things to practice because you instantly stop that fear or that bad memory and move on and continue to have a happy life that way. We can't keep living in the past.
Yeah.
We have to move forward.
Serve you or anyone to wallow in bad memories.
No.
That's the past.
Yeah.
Part of the fourth density is living in the present.
Now, your third book is The Rise of Human Perception.
Yes.
And does that go more in depth about how to achieve, the consciousness and awareness that we're trying to get in the love?
Yes, it does. And it helps us. Your vibrational frequency is directly proportional, our perception is proportional to a bandwidth of perceptional frequency. When we choose love, we raise our frequency. Simultaneously, we broaden that bandwidth of perception. We can see more things, become aware of more things. And the fourth book, but I tell people don't read the fourth book now, and not until you've read the first three, because it's graduate level courses for the ET phenomenon. Revelations, the greatest secrets in human history. I had to wrestle with it for a long time, and I spent 2 years trying to prove it wrong, but it proved me wrong in the end.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
answered so many questions and connected so many dots. But you have to be prepared.
I recommend for everybody to read these books. There is so much in this that we both resonate with, and I really feel like it would help people to enlighten themselves and raise their vibration. And I just can't stress enough to read Harrison's books. They're great. So where can someone get a hold of you? Now, you have a Instagram, and do you have a YouTube channel?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, I go on people's YouTube channels.
Yeah, that's true. Are you mostly active on Instagram?
Yes, Instagram, TikTok under Harrison Viers.
Okay.
Good.
My publicist chose that instead of Harrison Viers Newberry. I don't know why, but that's what it's under.
Less to type out.
Yeah, probably just left
You
to
can
type
listen
out.
to a lot of videos, short reels that I've done, as well as access many other interviews that I've done all over the country and even international.
Yeah, there are a ton of interviews, and I've watched a lot of them and found them very intriguing and full of knowledge. So I would recommend people go check all of those out because it's great. I love the topic. I love where you're going with it. I think consciousness completely ties into the ET phenomenon, and I think once we realize all that, excuse me, and get past just nuts and bolts, UFOs, and realize there is a consciousness aspect to it, that I think we will have a lot more knowledge.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Harrison. It has been great talking to you.
We really enjoyed it.
Yes, we've so much looked forward to this conversation, and it has been wonderful.
It's been my honor.
Well, thank you again, and we will talk to you again sometime.
I hope so.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.